You look like you're gonna kill somebody. What's wrong? Surgery tomorrow.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm not having
That's very true.
it. It's not me going on the blocks.
I feel a bit unprepared this time just because it feels like my last one was too recently. This cycle's been like unexpectedly hard.
It's been tough. We've had a few inconvenient events.
Well, I think my hormones have been nuts though, because I've been nuts. But it's
Never noticed.
It's this weird thing of like, I think because being my like 14th cycle, you assume that it's gonna like be easier or you're gonna be able to deal with it better, but I don't think that's actually true.
I think you know what's coming.
Which is worse sometimes.
Which is worse.
Yeah, some ways.
But yeah, I don't think you can sort of prepare for it.
Yeah. I've been feeling pretty sick, like my tummy has been hurting a lot more than usual, and I've definitely had more hormone. It might be a result of having done the last, 7 without a break, 7 cycles without a break. That's pretty full on. We just, I don't know, we're so used to dealing with it all on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So, like, it's funny actually how bad we're getting at managing the paperwork of IVF because we're just so over it. Like the nurses keep asking me to send in my paperwork and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Do you remember how we were at the start?
Oh my god, we're gonna get it done. No, we're gonna send it again.
Yeah, we were so good back then, but anymore. And I got
Don't
a
get
bit
me wrong, it does get done.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's all legal.
It has to be done.
I was a little bit, got a bit of a surprise. It's weird that I don't know why this freaked me out, but I just found out I was going to have a different doctor doing the actual procedure, which I know is a possibility at my clinic. And I've actually had before, but that surprised me. And then I was all weird about that.
Yeah, we can have a chat about that. Just reason it out.
Yeah, because I mean, I actually watched an egg retrieval procedure on YouTube today,
Yeah,
like
that was interesting.
what they actually do, because I've never really seen it before.
Interesting.
And just seeing it, because it's actually pretty simple, because they put the needle in, and that bit looked horrible, because they're like pushing it through, like pushing a pen into a balloon, right? And then when they get inside, then they just drain it, and the follicle, like, you know, the follicles you see
Yeah, it just goes, and then they move through to the next one, and it's like,
poof, poof.
it's just like clearing them all out.
Which was kind of making me go, oh.
And this woman was actually awake.
Yeah, she had the green, like the whipped cream whistle. Is that what it is?
That's the green whistle.
Yeah. When they do it awake, they just have, I don't know, they have some, I don't know. But yeah, so it was interesting to see that. It sort of made me go, actually, there's probably not a lot of finesse that an IVF doctor needs to have. Like, I don't know that one doctor's going to be necessarily better than another. I mean, obviously a bit of practice is always a good thing, but it didn't look like, you know, trying to reattach a valve in a heart or anything like that.
Well, when it comes to things like, to be a specialist in any sort of area, you've got your 5 years, then you've got your 2 or 3 years, and then you've got your specialist thing. So you're talking 10 plus years of...
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm trying to say is that actually watching the video of the procedure made me go, oh, like I hadn't watched it because I was like, I don't want to know what they do while they're in there. And obviously they have to puncture through the cervix and then into the ovary and stuff, so that's all a bit rough. But when I saw how they just draw out the fluid and the fluid all goes into a test tube or a petri dish or whatever, and then that's it, I was like, huh, it's probably not, that part of IVF is probably not, you don't need to be, you know, have 40 years experience. It's like, well, you just go in there and you drain the fluid. And that made me, weirdly, because I thought watching the video would make me more stressed, it actually made me go, oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter who does it.
Probably should have watched it on the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, I was so scared because you watched a video of your procedure and that was pretty nuts.
My purchase. You were watching it?
Yeah, you said you did.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah, no, he's blocked it out. It's just blocked out of his.
I know my mate sent me one for my cancer one afterwards. Thank God it was afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I normally wouldn't recommend watching your surgery, but I think because it's a vaginal surgery, you're not cutting anything. You're just puncturing things on the inside. Don't. Yeah, so that was strange. I mean, I am very uncertain about how many eggs we'll get tomorrow because we had a lot of mid-sized. The big follicles didn't look that good, and we had a mid-sized follicles that I don't know if they're going to be big enough.
So it's been quite funny. I'll say a certain number, and then Laura will go, "No, it won't be. It won't be this." And basically, she's been right every time. So
Yeah.
I just thought, well, why don't we use your power for good, and actually say the number that you want? I said, well, why don't you just say the baker's dozen? I've been attempting to get the baker's dozen.
It's not like ordering off a menu. It's more like, okay, what's at the buffet?
Yeah, but
do you know what I mean? Like
you said no, it's not that, and it hasn't been. So you've been right each time.
There's only a certain amount of eggs at the buffet. There's not an unlimited.
So we're trying something new. She's actually going to say what she wants right off the start.
But I've seen the follicle scan. I don't know. I don't want to put too much pressure on.
Come on.
You've seen me fall apart when I've been like, oh my God, so
I know, but I've said that baker's dozen the whole time.
Yeah,
I just
you've
want
been
you
wrong
to do it as well. Yeah, because you've been saying no, it's not going to happen.
Like me going to bed tonight and going, I want 13 eggs.
I need some backup.
Not going to give me.
Put it out there.
No.
Put it out there.
No, but then tomorrow I'm crying when I get 2 eggs.
No, you cry anyway. It's alright. It's alright.
Oh, it's true.
Just say what you want.
It's so funny, like watching
dozen.
all these people go through, and other people get to go through the whole IVF process through fertilization and whatever, and you always want more, obviously, but the numbers don't necessarily equal a take-home baby.
Yeah. Numbers are pretty cruel.
Yeah, it's really cruel, and it's hard for your mental health. So that's why I'm just not going and saying I'm going to get how many. Because if I go in going, okay, I'd be lucky to get 6 tomorrow. If I get 8, I'm going to be really happy. If I get 4, I'm only going to be moderately disappointed. And then there's the whole thing of like, it was, tough when they fertilized and the numbers dropped so rapidly. But I also know people who have just started with like 58 and gotten down to, it's just...
I tell you what was fantastic though, is someone telling you were doing IVF wrong.
Who told? Oh week. Yeah, somebody told me that this week. Yeah, that probably this was the reason that was
really helpful.
Yeah, the fact that I do yoga is probably the reason I'm not getting pregnant. And this was somebody that I was trusting with my healthcare as well. And also, like, the supplements I was taking were wrong, and yeah, that was pretty rough. And he has a baby, so he clearly knows better.
That's what he told you.
Yeah, that he has a baby, so he knows better. And so I should follow his advice because he can get pregnant easily.
So you can imagine my surprise when I got home and
yeah, I should have had a
poor Laura's just a shadow of a former self, and I'm like, what is going on here?
It's just because your heart is so fragile and you're doing everything you possibly can. When someone says to you, oh no, you've been doing all that wrong.
Without actually getting to know you and your situation.
But it's not easy to dismiss that and go, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about. It's not easy to do that because you're just so fragile and you're so looking for the answer.
Very vulnerable.
Yeah, you're vulnerable all the time. You're vulnerable when you see babies in the street. You're vulnerable
it's hard to guard your heart 100% of the time.
You're vulnerable when you see a glass of wine and you're like, I don't know whether I should have that. And then you live in this state for years for some people.
Yeah.
It's actually astounding that any of us are able to walk around, and that's what,
Well, we can't. We're in quarantine.
I mean, like, it's crazy that any of us can just, the fact that we manage to get up every day and it's not just the lack of a child, it's just the pressure of trying to do this exactly right. That is an intense pressure. And your brain just matches up the idea that the fact that you don't have one is because of something that you've done, and that's just often not true. Right? What do you think?
Your brain doesn't match up.
Your brain, like, subconsciously, your brain still thinks it's your fault. And it's so strange because, like, I was sitting there listening to this guy telling me what I was doing wrong and thinking, oh, I must be the reason that we're not having when you had cancer and don't make any sperm, so it's clearly not entirely me.
But he didn't take the time to find out.
Well, he didn't even know that we have male factor infertility. He was like, oh, well, probably you're doing this and this and this, and that's why it's causing some urine.
Because he knows people.
And
do IVF.
And because he's had a baby. And oh, that's the other thing that people always do, and he did this as well. He told me how he had another patient who did IVF and then finally got a baby. And I'm like, what does that mean that you impregnated her? But oh God, I was just I think I just was really looking for, and I didn't even go to him for anything IVF related. I was just going for some healthcare. Yeah, that was pretty. I think it lends itself, like, it makes you think of that whole issue of people in our culture don't know how to interact with people who are infertile or who are doing IVF, and I think it comes from that idea that IVF is only 40 years old and it hasn't been properly integrated. Does that make sense? That people don't know how to talk to you, or even healthcare professionals don't have a plan for it. And there's a lot of other things.
Well, I think you can't, though, unless you've experienced it, but you really can't.
Right.
And everyone's got their own experience.
Except that I would say that healthcare professionals have over the years developed like a system. Say somebody presented to a GP who'd been assaulted, they have guidelines that tell them how to deal with that. And I think potentially there needs to be some guidelines. I don't know, it's an interesting idea.
Potentially people just need to be a little more aware.
Yeah, but
of where they are and
why is it that it's human nature when someone says they're experiencing infertility that people immediately go, oh, I knew someone who was like that, or I had a baby, so here's what I did.
Their intention is to help, because potentially the majority of the time there's a good outcome for those. So they're trying to place that.
Is it to give you hope?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't say it's to help. I would say
the intention is always good.
To give you hope.
In their own way.
But when they then couple that with advice.
No.
So they're saying, well, my cousin did this. Here's what you should do.
Wrong,
yeah, then your immediate feeling is, well, I'm doing something wrong. So you're constantly just.
It's like the message the other day, they wanted to do something special for all the dads. I know I'm not a dad yet, but I'm trying to be.
Yeah, and you were included. And you know what I would say as well, like there's probably a lot of people who are in maybe the early stages of parenting who haven't spent as much money on their children as you have, who haven't invested as much emotions as you have, who haven't, particularly for women, I think that going through the willingness to put yourself through pain for your child is part of what makes you a parent, and we've surely done that. And it's the same way, like, if a parent loses their only child, do they stop being a parent?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They stop being a mum, they stop being a dad.
You don't ever stop caring for your children, and I think you can care for them before they're born as well.
It's like what they said, that you become a mum, you become a dad before you become actual parents. That preparation.
You know what they say? Actually, that just made me think of something. They say that the moment a business is born is when the business owner first takes a risk for that business. That's a way to define, like, when a business starts, like because they invest money in it, or because they register the name, or they take some kind of risk. And I think maybe that's true of being a parent as well. The moment you first take it from being a thought in your head to taking that first risk. like to putting it out there, to spending some money, to reading a book, to verbalizing it to somebody,
telling someone.
seeing a doctor, you know, or deciding to keep a pregnancy, to take a pregnancy test, you know, for people who can get pregnant naturally. That moment when you first take a risk, and in a way that kind of brings a bit of comfort, because you go, well, I've taken a lot of risks, probably more than a lot of actual parents have. I've been through a lot of pain for these kids already, and so have you.
Yeah.
You know, like, doesn't that qualify us to have a bit of dignity or something around the fact that we are parents? I mean, I've spent more money on these kids than a lot of actual parents have.
Yeah. I don't know. Broad brush strokes.
Yeah. I think that whole thing of how hard it must be when you actually lose your only child. Do you stop becoming a parent? It must be a horrible feeling.
It'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even get to meet them.
Yeah. And I think maybe that is a lot of, it's almost like infertility is that, but it's on the other side of the mirror. Like you're on the other side of... I don't know, it's very philosophical.
Anyway, she's been doing well.
Yeah.
She's been doing well. It has been a tough cycle. We've had to deal with some, yes, inconveniences. But no, she's ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's her birthday
Happy birthday.
We've done a lot of cooking. A lot of eating too, by the way, because she's been sick all day.
Yeah.
I pretty much made stuff for myself all day and ate it all.
I was spewing up my breakfast.
Made pancakes.
Straight back in the bathroom.
I did get a second and third helping. There's some bonuses to this.
It's like when the woman's pregnant and the guy gets to drink alcohol. You just get to have all the benefits. He even eats my hospital sandwich. So I get my sandwich from the hospital, and I never really want it.
It's vegan.
Yeah, but it's a bit... I don't really want a sandwich. I want to go out and get, like, proper food.
For some reason, it's just the thing I have to do now. I have to have a vegan sandwich.
And the nurses always come and check on you to see if you're actually eating and drinking and that you can go to the bathroom before you leave the egg retrieval. So
Not me, her.
No, me. So I stash it in my bag so that I'm like... take it home for you. Yeah, so you literally... eat the sandwich from my hospital bed.
One of the most enjoyable parts of my day. 6 o'clock start tomorrow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I can't even take her in. It's pretty much just boot her out on the curb,
Yeah.
roll into the hospital, and then I get a call, so I'll belt on home and do some bits and
Yeah.
get a call.
Yeah. It's been pretty nuts doing this every 4.5 weeks for literally the whole year. So yeah, it's wild. And then hopefully this will be our second last time.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. We haven't really heard anything so far, but yeah, we're booked in.
I'm pretty tired, to be honest. Like, it's not like you're tired like you need to go and have a nap, but like tired in your bones. Just because you just don't get time to recover. Tired of dealing with infertility, tired of thinking about this every day, tired of seeing it everywhere. I don't even know how that gets switched off when you become pregnant. I mean, they say that a lot of infertility people become more anxious when they get pregnant.
Just move on to the next thing, don't we?
Yeah, and you don't go into it with that kind of fairy tale, you know, like people get pregnant for the first time, it happens so easily, they assume it's going to stay, like, you know, many pregnancies are lost, but most continue. More continue. Yeah. But when you've heard so many stories, and we have heard so many stories from people in this community over these last few years, you know, so many losses. It's hard to forget all that just because you get pregnant. I'm a bit miserable tonight.
Yeah. Fun boys.
I don't know, I just don't think you ever... I mean, maybe everyone knows that miscarriages are possible. It'll just be hard when you can't just like look at a calendar and then just get pregnant again. How many's a baker's dozen? Yeah, not a chance, mate.
See? There you go again.
Alright, fine. We're going to have 13 because this is my 13th egg retrieval.
13. Alright, it's out there. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Okay, we're going to have
Don't
13.
even think it.
Tell me not to think something's making you think it.
Remember, baker's dozen.
I was singing a song to my future babies and I can't remember what it was. It was something. Oh yeah, the new Taylor Swift song. Where she's like, isn't it just so pretty to think that all along there was some invisible string tying you to me. That song. That one. I just thought that's really nice. And I was like, there's already an invisible string. It's already planned. They will come when it's time because there's already an invisible string. And it's just time. It's just time for the string to get pulled in. I need a fishing reel. That would help. Because at the moment I'm like, But if that's the case, there's already a plan of who our children are going to be. So that's when I've been meditating. I've been just being a little bit more like, you know, we're here, we're ready. You come.
Instead of saying we're not ready. We're...
I never say we're not ready. We're past ready, mate. No, I just say that, like, whenever it's the right time for those humans, they can come. So if 13 want to come tomorrow, eggs, not embryos, but 13 want to come, that's great. Welcome. But if you don't, we're not going to get
Hey, don't. Stop it.
6 would be lovely too.
Oh,
Or
here we go.
or 13. Alright, I think it's time to go.
Pits.
Another pits. I just trust that it's gonna work out the way it's supposed to. So many people talk about like manifesting eggs and stuff, and I'm like, I just want to trust that it's gonna be the right thing. Or not.
Right.
I'll come back tomorrow. I hope you get your babies done. I'll do my very best.
There is a sure thing tomorrow.
We're getting lunch.
We're getting lunch.
And I'll be wasted, which is my favourite way to eat lunch.
Munchies.
Yeah.
5 or 3 sandwiches.
Yeah. And I want a cookie.
Yeah.
I want 13 cookies. If I get 13 eggs, I get 13 cookies.
They're not going to stop us.
Who?
They'd be happy.
Fun police.
Yeah.
Alright, we're saying goodbye.
Oh,
night.
I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, we've got to get up early, so
Yeah.
we'll be at the hospital.
Night,
Bye.
night. Night, night.
Bye.